My mic is muted. Fucking great. All right. Can everybody hear me? What is up? Let me adjust my volume and make a quick announcement. Hello. I'm ready to roast some tracks or just give some honest feedback. Let me just finish making this little announcement and then we shall get started. Boom. There we go. All right. Is my audio sounding good? Everybody let me know. And is my green screen looking sexy? Or, well, actually, you can't see the green screen. It's not even a green screen. What am I talking about? All right. So, first track we got here is Creetowal with Feel. Before we get started, though, let me pour myself a glass of this unidentified liquid that I will not disclose. Can I submit with Spotify link? Yeah, if you'd like. Oh, what up, Dan? So there should be a link in the description to everyone who's coming in late, as well as a link in the chat that's pinned. Just go ahead and submit in there. You can just put in bullshit for the email if you really don't want to. I am just revamping up my sample pack and preset website / company, whatever you want to call it. So thought I might as well get some people's emails if you don't mind, since I'm just sitting here giving y'all some free feedback. What up, everybody? What up, Illicit? Outsize, let's go. Dance Demand. Everyone's rolling in. Awesome. All right. So definitely bear with me. This is just the second feedback stream. I'm still getting the hang of this and still figuring out the best way to do this. Like the last time we did it, it was like a Monday or something. Everyone decided Sundays at 6 p.m. my time was the best time to do this. So hopefully this works out. I will in the future be giving further notice for submissions. If you want to skip the line, you can send your submission with a super chat, or if at any point you want to just donate, go ahead. That should be available since I'm like a YouTube partner, I guess. And yeah, so if you want to skip the line, super chat, or if we hit the 25 submission limit, which we're close, we have like 6 more. So you guys have a little time if you haven't submitted yet. There's 6 more spots. But we'll start off with the first submission. Let me see if there's any specific feedback they're looking for. They said eating air. So I'll just listen to this and give it my best feedback. Let me know if all the levels are good. Chili dogs for dinner, let's go. So far this is a vibe. Nothing stands out to me yet. Like nice stereo field. Okay, shit's getting nasty. I feel like there could be a bit more elements in that little breakdown. Okay, wait, we need to roll that back. I don't know what just happened. Everything was going good right here, and then it got a little too empty. I get the you're trying to like create a contrast with the breakdown, make things a bit like more, I guess, eerie and tense, but I feel like there could have been a little more substance. It just kind of felt like empty noise. And then there was like no teaser for what was about to happen in the drop. I feel like the transition into the drop was just kind of weird and left me feeling confused. And like this part, like I get what you're trying to do. I just don't think the sound design is there. Like first off, if you look at the waveform, the build is louder than the drop, so that immediately takes away the impact of your drop. And then second, the leads just aren't like in your face. They're a little bit melodic, so it's a little confusing with the buildup. The buildup kind of gives you the hint that there might be something heavy, and then the pre-drop kind of has a familiar like rhythm pre-drop type of feel. So I was expecting something heavy, and then it dropped into something melodic, but I don't know, there's something about maybe the tonality of the leads that feels a little off. Alyssa loves it though, so it's all subjective. Yeah, sounds slightly out of tune. I don't know if Kritoal is in the chat right now. It is vibey, like I'll give you that. It's a little vibey, but yeah, it just feels a little out of tune, and I think it was just the transition into this drop. Like the drop feels a little out of place with the rest of the song. Yeah, definitely has some has a good amount of potential. Oh, what up, Hitcam? That part's nice. I like the reverb in the space. Yeah, I think the drop by itself is cool. Like I think there's a little bit of weird, like we said, slightly out of tune issues in this area, especially. But yeah, I think just the way you transition to the drop needs some finessing. It just feels like three disconnected ideas, and just got to kind of make them a little more smooth, prepare people for the like unique vibe going on in the drop. I mean, I don't necessarily know if it's out of tune, but it just, there's something about the tonality of this. It might be that it just, maybe there's like two different keys going on, like from this part into here. It's like such a weird, like sudden change up in, I guess, the key or the I'm not the most music theory person, so I don't completely know what I'm talking about. I just know that it feels off in a kind of weird way, at least when you transition into it from the beginning. This part's got, like, it's growing on me though. It's definitely growing on me. And that transition out was a lot better. So it could just be the build, maybe just doesn't prepare you in a good way. I don't know. This part's dope actually. I love this part. Ooh, go off. Let's see what happens. There's a bit of clipping going on in here. There might be just too much mud being caused with the reverb. You might want to EQ the reverb on those leads a little bit. Make sure it just sounds like a little bit of low end mud. Reload. I don't know. Tyler Kitschy looks like they know what they're saying. Maybe listen to them. Also, it might be that little pre-drop. I don't know what it is about this section, but it just doesn't transition in a complimentary way. And then you know how I feel about copy paste drops. I mean, there's some variations. Never mind. The vocal. Yeah, that could also be it. Yeah, because you definitely, there's like individual chunks of the song that are dope. It's just some of the transitions. Ooh. I love this part. This is my favorite part. It's also over here with this lead. Like, I would play more into that if you can. Bring it out a little more. It's just this one little bridge section, which is dope, but like, you got something good right there, and you got this vibe, the drums and the beat behind this flows. So yeah, I think it's just mainly what's happening between like connecting this section to this drop is what you need to work on in terms of this. But yeah, like everyone said, a lot of potential. Yeah, just some slightly off sections in terms of how everything flows into each other. But yeah, thanks for submitting. Let's see who's next. Oh, we have one more submission, by the way, before we hit 25. And then anyone who comes in after is going to have to donate. Just because 25 tracks of feedback, that's almost like two and a half hours. So it's a long time for me to be sitting here giving feedback. Next, we got Evil Thweck. Let's see what you got for us. Hunter dropped 2 months ago, some Dubstep. Is there anything specific you're looking for feedback on? The Reese is kind of dodgy. I tried my best to get it where it was, but I wasn't super happy with it. So any advice in that area? Also, is the sub present enough? All right, so we will all keep an ear out. And yeah, and like you guys have been doing, feel free to give your own feedback. The more feedback, the better. So you guys can listen along with me, and feel free to give whoever it is feedback as well. Hey, let's go, Spacey. I don't know if this is the Reese you're talking about or if it's a Reese in the drop. So far, it sounds good. I feel like there could be a tiny bit more sub. There's kind of a lot going on here. I think it's not horrible, but I think you could do a better job of just kind of keeping elements a little more cleaned up in terms of EQing, just to make things a little cleaner, a little easier to pay attention to everything, because you're getting close to the point where it's a bit too muddy. I'd say part of it is that kind of low end detuned Reese sound might be too wide in the low end, so maybe do some mid side EQing or just turn the width down a little bit. This part's dope.
It's speaking evil.
Yeah, definitely not enough sub. Definitely the impact there was not as like there as it could have been.
It's speaking evil.
Yeah, this is really lacking sub. Like, you can tell by how present the kick thump is. Like, the kick thump is like the loudest low end element in the whole drop, and it's so obvious when the kick thump hits versus when it's not there. So that right there should tell you you need more sub, because kind of the kick and sub should be like trading out, like tag teamy, or that, I don't, that's a bad way to explain it, but they should be like trading out kind of. There was good amount of sub for whatever that part was. This part, the Reese, there's a better amount of sub there. It's kind of hard to judge the drop and give feedback on it because of the lack of sub. It makes the whole drop feel a bit lacking. I'm not personally the biggest fan of like this kind of rhythm and style of dubstep. Yeah, and there's just parts here, like it could just be the lack of sub, but there's just too much noisy distortion going on. I would tone it down a bit. It just gets it's getting just a bit too messy. Just like in the intro, there's just a lot going on. You kind of need to choose which like elements should keep their textures and which shouldn't, so you can have a kind of call and response and a like give and take of like that texture. Because if it's all just noisy texture, it takes away the impact of the individual elements because it all just starts to blend together like noise. And that's what I feel like is kind of happening, at least from my experience listening to this so far. Yeah, it's like all the things that are call and responsing are all equally distorted and noisy, and so it's just not really giving the full impact of like a call and response. Yeah, the kick is great. The kick is great. The snare is pretty good. Snare might be able to be a little louder or brighter. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of this style of dubstep, I think the rhythm and arrangement is there for the most part. It's not really my, like I said, my thing, but I think, yeah, your main issues seem to be your mixing and your leveling. And then, like I said, with the distortion, I would maybe intentionally take away some of the noisiness with certain elements so that there's a bit more of a contrast between phrases and calls and responses and stuff like that. This part's sick. I fuck with this. That distorted pad. This is lit. If this had sub, this would be fire. That part's dope. I fuck with that a lot, actually. This is pretty too. Ooh, go off with the violin and the screaming in the background. See, this is a lot cleaner and more fleshed out than this section where it felt like you were trying to shove almost too much. I mean, it wasn't too much, it was just, it got a little bit muddy. Okay, we got a sick ass switch up. Give us the triplets. This just comes back to, I mean, again, it's a little hard to tell because the sub really isn't present enough. And so sometimes the sub will kind of balance out all the noise and kind of make it not as noticeable. But right now, there's a bit too much distortion and noise. I would EQ a lot of that. A lot of this track, I feel like you should look more into mid-side EQ and the benefits of that, and just do some kind of surgical mid-side EQing. I mean, not even that surgical, just I think that would help you out where there's just a little too much noise everywhere. I don't know if this motif might be going on a bit too long without enough variation. I can't. Again, it's hard to tell without the sub giving it that energy and presence in the low end. Yeah, I just saw that. I definitely felt the time signature switch up for the second drop, but I wasn't sure because I'm not like the most music theory inclined, so I didn't want to say the wrong thing, but that's sick. That's really sick. Definitely a lot of potential in this track. Obviously, you've already released it. Hopefully, there's still helpful feedback for whatever you're working on now. But yeah, sub really not present. Like almost feels non-existent. A little bit too much noise and distortion going on. I toned that down a little bit. so that it's still really clean and obvious, like what's going on with the sounds, and it's not overpowering the tonality of your sounds. And then what was the last thing? Oh, I mean, just general EQing, or at least in this section and during the first drop, especially, just got a little too muddy. Other than that, though, really cool track. Like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of this style of dubstep, but he definitely, especially the second half of the song, definitely grew on me. A lot of really cool stuff in there. Next, we've got Eerie Art. Let's go. With Seesaw. Oh, it's a collab. This one is released as well. In terms of feedback, they're looking for nothing except they are looking for hot singles in their area. If you're in Eerie Arts area and you're a hot single, hit the dude up. I like this little kind of, not necessarily world building, but it's a cool soundscape going on. That snare is crispy, or clap is crispy. So far, so good. I like the arrangement, and I don't know how I feel about the sound design, but it's definitely a bit too pushed back in the mix. I don't know if there's like, you put reverb directly on it. If you didn't, ignore this, but if you did, I would do like a parallel signal or like a reverb send and put the reverb on there, because it just feels a little pushed back. Yeah, personally, I'm just not into the sound design. I think the arrangement is there. It's just, it's like too computer noisy, if that makes sense. I don't know. It's just not the most, I guess, gripping sound design. It just kind of sounds like beat boops, but not like the flow isn't there enough where it's catchy. Like how Huke can make like bleep bloops still super vibey. I feel like the rhythm just isn't crazy enough to get you into it. This is better, but it just feels a bit too like bit crushed or whatever you're doing. It's just not clean and in your face enough. Oh, what? What's going on in my Discord server? Hopefully someone tag the mods in my server, please, if that's what's going on. Or I will. All right, well, that was Seesaw with Eerie Arts. It's a bit hard to give feedback on that because everything else sounded good. It was just, I really wasn't a fan of the sound design, and it sounded a bit too, like, I guess, destroyed, if that makes sense. But hey, we got Morb HD like that. So it's all subjective, just my take on it. Next, we've got Rhine Tunes. I think it's a remix of Noir. All right. I love Noir. I don't think I've heard the original. Ooh. That snare is insanely tight. I don't like, I mean tight, by tight I mean it's like really short and feels almost like kind of over compressed. I don't know how I feel about it. Maybe just saturate it a bit more if you're going for that. This is a vibe so far. Okay. Okay, so there was like a kick right here where it was like the transient or the length of your drums are kind of questionable. Like the kick is fine there, but then there's that one kick, and I kind of get what you're trying to go for, but it feels awkwardly less impactful than the other kicks. Like it's noticeable. And then the snare, like I said, snare needs to be saturated more if you're going to do it like this style. I don't completely know if it works, but the snare is not present enough. It's getting a little bit lost, partially because it's so short. And then I think it just needs a bit more saturation if you're going to keep it that short and like tiny. What's up, Bake Up? I feel like your sub could be a little more saturated as well. Like there's definitely a sub here and it works, but I'm curious to know how well this sub would come through on certain devices because it is a kind of subtle sub. That's dope though. This is definitely a cool tune. And I like the album art. Sorry for anyone who actually thought I was like roasting tracks. I guess it's just I wanted to call it something more fun than feedback stream, but I'm obviously not that good at like being a dick. Just more honest feedback. Yeah, it does say remix right here. Oh, okay. This is sick. That's a really dope switch up. Huh. I think that's a cool switch up, but the tempo of the song feels a bit too slow in this section for it to hit as well as it could have. It's not bad though. I just think it would have hit better if it was a little bit of a faster tempo. Yeah, and I agree with Alyssa, a little too much distortion, especially right there, way too much distortion. Yeah, wait. You gotta find the balance. Like the clipping sound is cool, but yeah, this is this is just sounding like poop. Like someone just violently shitting in my ears with drums on top of it. That part's cool. But like it sounds like you're using a snap as a snare, and that's questionable. It's definitely a style though. Like I mean, even with the snare up in the front, that is more of a creative thing. Like I personally don't think it completely works, but it's not. It doesn't like not work. I don't know how to explain it. I think though, when you're using stuff that small, you should definitely saturate it and maybe add some like recognizable level of reverb tail just to give it a tiny bit more like presence. But yeah, Ryan with his Noir Kira remix. So for anyone else submitting right now, we hit the 25 limit like a few songs ago. We have 28 submissions, and so whoever were the last 3 to submit, I don't know how to tell you because I can't go through all of them right now, but there's going to be 3 of you who aren't going to be able to, like I'm probably not going to get to them, or you're going to have to send a super chat and then you can just skip the line and I'll give you feedback next. But it's just, we've only made it through 5 so far, and so it's a lot of tracks to go over. Next we got Primal Rights, the one and only, with Jungle Mage version 4. Ooh, I'm always a fan of horns. I like the jungle atmosphere, but I feel like there could be more. Like, I feel like you should layer maybe some sort of like organic, like outside nature noise with the tweets, like the jungle, like animal bird chirps or whatever they are. Sounds good, but it still doesn't sound as present as it could be. Like, I mean, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I just feel like you could play up the jungle theme even more and kind of overdo it a little, or just give some sort of like constant noise that's layered with it as well. Hopefully that makes sense. Or you might already have that and you just need to make it a little louder. Although I do see, like, there's the footsteps, and with the constant noise that wouldn't be as recognizable. It's definitely more of a creative thing. I feel like those chants could be louder. Yeah, especially since this is like the build-up, I would make the chants louder. Even right now, they don't have enough high end. They're just kind of like, they sound almost muffled. Like when you think chants, it should be huge. I need to hear that again. So something that I think happens right here is the rhythm of this like chant fill type thing right here. Or whatever the fuck's going on there. That kind of sets an intention of like, or not an intention. It gives me the expectation of a rhythm like that, and then the rhythm that happens is like kind of completely different. So it throws you off for a second, and then your brain has to get reused to it. I think it would be cool to maybe tease that lead, like reverbed in the background somewhere in the intro. But I do understand the style. It's very like UK, like I definitely understand the style. More... I don't know how I feel about this yet. Like, it's cool, but it feels a bit slow. And it doesn't feel as bouncy as you'd want it to be. The lead is dope. This part's better. This is a bit more bouncy. See, I would kind of play with more stuff like that. Like, you have all this tribal stuff, tribal jungle stuff going on in the intro. Now, when I think tribal jungle stuff, the chants and all that, I'm thinking like weird tribal drums, like really just bouncy, like lively, like chants and weird shit. Like, I hope that makes sense. But like, just basically what I'm trying to say is the drop is really slow, and it's not the most like bouncy. It's more of like a weird like chugging along. It just doesn't match the kind of idea that like the intro and like the mood and the world the intro kind of sets. So if I were you, as annoying as it is, I would kind of mess around with the rhythm and flow of the drop and make it something more along the lines of this part. And I know that like part of it is you're progressing to that point, so I get that, but yeah, I just don't think, like, I think it's cool, but I think it could be a lot better. Sounds like Amazon VIP. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's like a weird mix of like butte noise and huke. This is cool. I like this distorted section added. Again, though, I really feel like the chants could be more, just more present, I guess. I forgot the word, but the chants feel just too muffled and in the background. Okay. That worked for a second, and then you, like, stopped it. And that was a bit confusing. You have to think about stuff like this in terms of a live setting. And I feel like a lot of people would have trouble dancing and getting down to that. They'd just be a little confused. It's just my opinion, though. I know it's definitely kind of its own style. That's better. Okay. That part was sick. Okay, so I think it's just this part. Like, I think that's creative, don't get me wrong. But like if you were to play that, I don't know. I just think maybe don't do that little break part. I think you kind of do the same thing right here, but it works so much better. This part's sick. See, it's the ends of these drops. Like, that bounciness is really cool. I think overall, you had like this kind of flow in the beginning of that drop, and then it slowly built into that. I think that worked a lot better. I think it's just, I don't know. I think introducing the whole song with this kind of rhythm just, I don't know. Like I said, I think it could be better, is all. And so, I mean, obviously, you're wanting feedback. That's my feedback. Excited to hear version 5. Next, we got Neofox music with a long ass link. What the fuck? Disruptor. Let's see. Looking for feedback on the mixing. All right, got you. Oh shit, there's still more people submitting. I'm sorry, but there's been a couple of you who missed the limit. So depending on how long this takes. Why I see Primal dancing on this right now in my head. I saw that too, actually, when I was dancing. This is pretty. I think maybe the hats could be just a little more like in your face or louder, but there's not really any issues. That's just nitpicking. Ooh, excuse me. That stuff in the background is sick. Here. This one's hard to critique because it's definitely like pretty experimental. There's something about it that just doesn't feel as impactful. I think maybe it's the leads. Yeah, this one's just hard to really critique because this is all like experimental stuff. It's just a lot of creative decisions. I think the arrangement and everything's dope. Yeah, I just honestly, what do you guys think? It's kind of hard to tell like what you could work on with the mixing because it's so experimental. It's hard for me to be able to figure out in my head like which issues I have with it are just me not completely like vibing with this experimentation. I don't know. Hopefully that makes sense. This part's sick. What the hell? Ooh. This is a vibe. This is a vibe. Yeah, I agree with you, Vake. Oh, okay. The vocals are too quiet. I always find it weird when trap artists do this, like when they add in vocals randomly at one part of the song and then the vocals aren't the focus. Generally, when you're adding in vocals, the vocals should be the focus in the mix during that section. So it's like you have that melody in the background and that's more present and forefront than the vocals are. You could try to have those both as the forefront. It might work based on how that lead is panned, but definitely the vocals need to be more up front. And the hi-hats in this part could be more saturated and present as well. And I saw Illicit say something about reverb or hi-hats needing reverb. And I mean, that's a bit more of a creative decision, but during this part, I think especially the hi-hats having more kind of washed out reverb would be a really nice addition to this build. They're a bit too dry, and you want contrast between the drop. This part doesn't work for me. I think part of it is your snare. You're using a really skinny trap snare that's not the brightest. While that works here, one, if you're trying to transition to like some sort of like more EDM drop, you don't want to be using the same snare or drums in general as in the bridge areas if you want to have more of an impact and more contrast. But especially that snare should be layered with a more impactful, bright, and like large sounding clap or snare, in my opinion. Yeah, that's definitely, let me hear it in here. Yeah, that's, I think, one of the biggest issues is that snare or whatever trap snare needs like more of a reverb tail to it. And it kind of makes it feel like obviously there's a snare there, but that kick, since it's a kick clap, that kick is still taking up a lot of the presence and energy. So then it starts to just feel like mainly just a kick hitting over and over, if that makes sense. I mean, like if you listen to it, your hi-hat has more of an impact than the snare does. Like, because I hear a hi-hat layered with the snare, I'm hearing the hi-hat more than I'm hearing the snare, which shouldn't be happening. Yeah, like a rhythm clap, exactly. This part's cool. But yeah, definitely layer a fat clap on that snare. Alright, that was Disruptor, Neofox, and yeah, that was all the feedback I had for that one. But I will say, based on this and the last tune that you sent, Neofox, you have some really interesting ideas, really unique ideas, especially in this section. Your arrangement and songwriting and composing in terms of like this sort of stuff, I think is really well done. There's lots of little ear candy and counter melodies, so definitely keep going with that. So far, everything I've heard from you kind of have a nice, unique take on EDM, and I really enjoy that. Next, we've got Illicit. Let's go. High bounce flip. I heard this already, but I will give you feedback. Okay, so first off, this section feels kind of clippy. The kick is definitely something weird going on with the kick. I don't know if that's intentional, but it feels not at the top of the mix, and it feels like it's clipping a bit too much. It could be intentional, but if it's intentional, I would definitely kind of tone down the high end going on with these leads. More clipping going on there. And overall, just a lot of high end. You need to control your high end a little bit more. That's a sick flip. I would add something there to just kind of emphasize the flip part. Like, it just kind of goes into the flip, which is cool, and it takes you by surprise, but I feel like just some sort of like transition sample, whether it's a vocal or some sort of cool reverse or something, could just even give that flip a bit more impact without completely giving it away. Also, I think with this style of drop, having a bit more of a present, loud, grittier sub or like layer on the sub just could make it hit a bit harder, a bit more impactful than having such a clean like sine wave going on. Ooh. Yeah, especially right here. That sub needs to be a lot more present. I would distort it or add like maybe a saw wave on top of it and mess with that. Just something to make the sub a bit more noticeable. Just putting noise on that sub when it's that clean isn't enough, in my opinion. I mean, for this, I'd even just use an 808. Bad sustain. Bad sustain. So part of the issue is the sustain. A lot of the fundamental tonality and presence of it is hitting in the same area as the high bounce leads. So first off, if you're going to add a sustain like that, which I think is fine, like the modulation on it is cool, but I think it needs to be EQ'd a little bit because it's taken away too much focus from the high bounce lead. And then personally, I would use a different sound for that sustain. It's definitely way too present of a sustain though. Oh shit, I forgot about that. See, the drop ideas are cool. Like, all the drop ideas are really dope, but the sub is just not allowing it to have the impact that it could be having, because it's just too clean. Ooh. Yeah, I really think it's just the sub. The sub is like both overpowering in that section and not like energetic enough. So what I can tell from this is that your ideas are there. for the most part, like for instance, your drums were fine, aside from the weird clippiness going on in the beginning. But overall, I think you just need to work on your mixing a little bit more, and then, like I said, the way you process your sub. But your mixing in general, there's like clipping here and there where it's like you obviously have just some subtle frequencies clashing that are causing that clipping, as well as, like I pointed out, the sustain. Just make sure that everything has its own little spot in the frequency spectrum, and like especially if you're clipping your whole master and you're getting like little sections that start to distort like that, that usually means that there's something there clashing. A lot of times it has to do with the low end. So yeah, I think you just got to polish your mixing, and like I said, the way your sub complements things. But other than that, it's a really cool flip, and definitely a lot of potential there. Who do we got next? Ah, shit, people keep submitting. Just so you know, only going over 25 of them. Anybody after that, or anyone who wants to skip the line, you gotta send a super chat. Just because it's such a long stream if I go over 25. Last time we had like 30 something, or maybe it was even 40, and it was like a 3-hour stream, and I didn't even get to all of them. So next we got, oh wait, that's illicit. Oops. Next we got, I'm not gonna do 2 of yours illicit, just FYI, just because we have so many to get to. We got Data Kid, just experience it, give feedback if needed. All right, got it. Got no elbows. Dogs got no elbows remix. Wait, real quick. Thank you so much, Efficient. I forgot to put my thing. You actually only have to donate like $3 to get a feedback, but thank you regardless. I will get to your track right after this. I promise. I don't know what's happening here. What the fuck? A lot of high end. Why does this somehow kind of work? This is so dumb. I love it. I don't know what it's saying. Sounds like Dogs Got No Elbows, though. This is the peak of hyperpop right here. That pause was a bit weird. Oh shit. Alright, I found yours, Efficient. Hey, congrats, Data Kid. You won 3rd place. Yeah, song sounds like a mental breakdown in audio form.
This is a certified hood classic.
Come on.
No elbows. Yeah. Doctor got no elbows. Yeah. Like, I'm just playing Roblox and I just see that this dog doesn't have no elbows. Like, what am I supposed to do?
Oh my god. Love it. That's fun. That's fun. All right. Thanks for that submission, Data Kid. Next we got Break, or aka Efficient in the chat. Can you tell what's the cue? Okay, here, I'll do that real quick. or I can't. Well, I mean, I can't tell the whole entire queue, but I'll tell you who the next couple people are, in case you're wondering if it's you. Just gotta go all the way back. All right, so we got Eckley Music next, Psycat next, and Semi Dubs. Those are the next three. But first, we're gonna get to Efficients. Thanks again for the super chat. We got tinnitus. Please, I don't want to have tinnitus. Oh, wait, real quick. So you're looking for mix down, creativity, and generally just how everything is formatted and structured. I will say, starting off, that is an insanely short intro. I don't know how well that would work. I mean, I haven't completely listened to the drop yet, but if the drop's good enough, I guess, but like fucking, that's like 5 seconds before the drop. Oh, wait, I guess there's a build. I think that kick build, though, you need more, like, just something else to build tension, because it just feels like just kicks to free. Like, it doesn't really do much. You'd be better off just, like, not even having the kicks there if you're just going to keep that same loop from the beginning. This one's clipping a bit too much. The sub might be a little too loud because it's kind of hard to hear the leads. Like, they're not super upfront in your face because they're being kind of overshadowed by the sub and just the clippiness overall. And so when you're clipping everything like this, first off, I'd recommend clip individual elements instead of only relying on clipping on your master. Not saying that's what you did, but it might have been what you did, and just in general, that can be a little more destructive to the mix. On top of that, when you're clipping stuff, you got to make extra sure that things are EQ'd and leveled properly so that you can get that clipping like distortion, but you still have an overall like cleanly composed song, because like I said, the leads are getting a little bit overshadowed. The arrangement, though, yeah, see right there, the sub is too loud. I think I heard a pop. I'd also check your mix. It might be the sub or because of your sidechain or something along those lines. But just check for clicks and pops, because those can, especially when you're clipping like this, those can interfere with stuff. It's just a subtle thing. Like, not everyone, not the casual listener isn't going to notice. Just something I noticed. Yeah, there's a pop right there. Yeah, the flows and glitches are nuts. This is some country music. Yeah, it's literally just the mix down. The mix down is stunting the impact of this song because the arrangement is sick. The sound design is sick. Oh, what the fuck? And I love the snare. Yeah, your sub is just too loud. I'd also say that this goes on longer than it needs to. I mean, obviously, it's kind of the style. It's like, I know it's tear out, but it's like arranged like rhythm. But I think you kind of, the point we got the point around this section. I'd say bringing it into a bridge at this point and then build into the second drop. Yeah, it starts to get a little too I don't want to say mundane. Just I don't know. It's like this whole section right here. I think you would have been good to cut it off. Or even right here. Like, I thought this was going to be a bridge. Oh, there's the bridge. Also, like, as you can hear, right, like, this is the most obvious representation of just how loud the sub is. And then there's a lot of clicks and pops, actually, like way more than just a subtle one here and there. So I would definitely look into what might be causing that. You might have to do a little digging and experimenting to figure that out. But that, especially with, like I said, with this amount of clipping, every click and pop is actually going to just sound like extra distorted and extra noticeable. And it probably causes some of the clicking. So something that you can do to remedy that, if you can't completely figure out what exactly is causing it, is if you have like Isotope RX7, they have this thing called D-Click, and I'm sure there's like other VSTs out there that help you do that, but it basically like takes out the clicks and pops. I've had that issue with some of my songs, and D-Click is the GOAT unless you figure out what it is. Sometimes it's just like automation, like my song Caged. The first version that was sent to Spotify had 2 or 3 like somewhat noticeable clicks in it, and turned out it was because I was automating on an EQ8 in Ableton, and so I just had to figure out how to fix that. But yeah, just be careful with clicks and pops, guys. Yeah, I got you, RoboD. Thanks for the super chat. And like I said, it's just too minimal of a build-up, in my opinion. Overall, just of this part, overall it is. I get that it's kind of the style, but I would say that like when you're sending something like this to a label, for instance, they're gonna probably look for just at least a little more substance. Like if I'm being honest, it's a bit lazy to be that empty. And it's like that part's cool with the kick rolls, but there's nothing backing up those kicks with like tension. So it's like forcing energy, if that makes sense. So I would definitely say just fill this up a little more. Just be a little creative. Just put something else in there to just build some tension and pique people's interest for the drop, so they don't just hear that and then just kind of get bored and click off, you know? But yeah, the flow is sick. Now, I can't tell completely if this is like the same complete arrangement as the first drop. If it is, I would definitely try to add some more variation. Because it's just like if the second half of the song is completely a copy paste, then it just doesn't give anyone a real reason to play the song out or to play the second half. I think that's a switch up. It's honestly just hard to tell with all the clipping. It starts to all sound the same. So the most important thing in this song is fix your leveling because the sub is causing a lot, and clip individual elements. That's like one of the biggest things I've learned from like some of the dudes in Halcyon, for instance, like Ulasile and like Sudden Death. Like they one day had this huge conversation about how so many people just put a clip on their master and how it's so much more effective and less damaging to clip individual elements or clip just certain groups together individually instead of clipping everything into one clipper. So just something to look into. Thanks again for the donation. And next we got Robo D, another super chat. Is it ready for submitting to a label? Ooh, do we have some like neuro hop here? Yo, thank you, Vakeup. Is that so that you can skip as well? That's fine. I'll take your kidney as well, ZFP Tron. Ooh. This is interesting. It's almost like Robo Neuro Hop, like RoboStep Neuro Hop. Oh, so far I would say submit this. I'm not super familiar with like labels that would take this kind of style, but I would say the pre-drop could use some work. It's just like such a huge contrast in energy. I would put something else in there, a vocal or something. It's just kind of asking for it, I feel like. I don't know how I feel about the drop actually. Like this kind of like robotic Foley type stuff worked for the intro. But I feel like the rest of the song has so much more melodic content where the drop feels a bit lacking in like melodic tonality. It's more of just these kind of like inharmonic robotic stuff. So I would say maybe add some sort of layer in here or counter melody or something to just give the drop a bit more melodic content to sink your teeth into. Since there was so much in before, it just kind of feels off. Or maybe like start taking it out of the build so people are more like expecting like less melodic content, if that makes sense. Like even the pre-drop, like the pre-drop is a pad, but then it goes into kind of like less, like more inharmonic stuff. Like there's hints of little melodic sections in here, so maybe even just turn those up a bit because it's a lot more subtle. So maybe you just need to turn those little like glitchy melodic fills up a bit more. Yeah, like the bass guitar and stuff, just turn that up. Like make that a bit more in your face. I think that actually might be all it needs even. Ooh. Yeah, actually ignore what I said, just turn it up. Turn up the fills and stuff. I think that's all you need, especially with this part. It makes a little more sense. And then I would just fix the pre-drop and maybe finesse the build a little bit to just kind of make you less expecting of like a super melodic drop, because that's honestly, I was expecting some sort of like almost rush down type of vibes. That might just be me. But yeah, I think it's just the transition into the drop needs a little bit of finesse, and then you're probably good to send it. This part's amazing. The snare could be a tiny bit more present. Not anything huge though, but I think the snare could just be a little more present. Ooh, this gave me the chills just now. This is sick though. I'm gonna give you a follow. What the yeah, send this to Inspected or something, man. This is... Oh, man. This is a vibe. This melody. Dude, I have, like, chills right now. Oh, that's sick. Dude, everybody... Oh, why did it end? Okay, I would make more of an outro. That ended way too suddenly. Everybody go follow RoboD. That's a vibe, dude. I'd say, like I said, just work on this one section. It's just the transition into this part is like this second half of the song is kind of on another level than this section right here. So anything you can do to just kind of spruce the way that this flows up just a little more to bring it to the same level as everything else in the song. And then, fuck, dude, especially that's some impressive stuff. Like, well done. That was really cool. Okay, so who really is the robot? All right, so back to the peasants of the... I'm just kidding. But back to the original order. Let me find where we were at. Ekli, I believe. Ekli. I don't know if I'm saying that right. All right. We're only on 10 of like 25 unless more people super chat. So overall ideas, sound design, and any areas that need improvement or fleshing out. Got you. Let me drink some water. I'm drinking... you guess what this is, but I've been drinking that the whole time and no water. So far so good. I love this. Okay. This is interesting. There's a little bit of clipping going on, so I would just regulate your levels a little bit. Maybe just do some extra polishing on the EQ, make sure everything's nice and tight. Oh shit, my bad. I did not see your super chat, Mike. Oh wait, I see it. I'm sorry. I will do yours right after this. Sorry. Also, I just saw his... Oh, shit. I've missed a whole bunch of people, actually. Fuck. I'm sorry, guys. Here, I need to, like, somehow make the chat more visible. Also, like, fucking... I didn't see Ellie Derp, Joe B. What's up, guys? All right, fuck. Okay, I'm going to do this one since I already started it, and then I'll get to semi-dubs and mic shift. I'm sorry, guys. I just have the chat, like, way over on this monitor, so... Yeah, there's something about the build. I don't know what it is, to be honest. I guess there's just not anything in the drop and in the build that really catches your attention. Like, it's pretty sounds. Maybe there's something a little off about the chords, like stabs going on, but there's just something about this that's not, it just feels kind of, I don't know. I don't know if it like needs like some vocal hits or something, but it just honestly, it's just kind of a bit of a forgettable build and drop. Sorry if that's a bit harsh, and sorry that like I can't really give you anything specific, but it's lacking some sort of it factor that really catches you. It's just kind of like pretty sounds composed together, but there's something about it that just doesn't really hit for me. It might just be the melody, like the call and response of like the and then the chords. You might just need to change that up and make it a bit more complimentary. This part's cool. Oh, this part's really cool. Oh yeah, Vake Up, my bad. You as well. Guys, I'm sorry, I'm so bad at this. I'm still getting used to like donations and shit. This part's dope. This part's dope. I think it's just that drop in the build needs some work, and it might just be the melody. Yeah, this part, so far, this whole breakdown and everything, and the progression of it has been great. I love the texture and atmosphere going on here. And I can tell that you notice it's the builds is part of the issue. It just sounds a bit cheesy, I guess. Okay, so part of what's going on here, first off, I do like this drop better, but the bass hits, those boom, boom, those need a much more present, saturated, and pronounced layer on top of the sub. Like some sort of gritty, dispersed, like saw wave type of vibe, or something like that. Because it's one, they're just obviously quieter, and they're not a proper response. You need an extra layer on there, in my opinion, that's a bit more in your face on the bomb, bomb. But I think the way this is arranged is a lot better than this first drop. And I like how the basses are changing up in terms of the melody. But it's hard to completely judge the drop because those bass hits are so quiet compared to the... Oh, that's an interesting little break into a build-up. What I think it is the response. I think the chords are nice, but that... I think that just doesn't work. I don't know if it's the rhythm of it or the tonality of it or both, but it just kind of sounds cheesy. I don't know why. Oh fuck, we got more super chats. Well, here, okay, I need to start scrolling up, figure out. Okay, so next, oh wait, Tyler Kitschy as well. Wait, okay, Robo D, Tyler Kitschy. Didn't I already go over yours? Never mind. All right, let me go through the super chats. But yeah, Eklai, hopefully that was helpful feedback. Sorry I couldn't be as descriptive as I wanted to. All right, so who all has donated? So I got Efficient. I got Robo D. Again, really sorry, guys. I'm still getting used to this. It's like my second time streaming. Oh no, is my stream fucking lagging too? Uh-oh. Okay, no, it's not lagging. God, why am I fucking up? All right, so we got Tyler Kitschy, and then Vake Up, and then Mike Shift, or no, and then Semi Dubs, and then Mike Shift, and then Dysmorphia, and then everybody chill with the donations. because I need to catch up. All right, so Tyler Kitschy, let me get you. Is there anything you're looking for specific feedback on? No. All right. Set. Let's go. Ooh, jazz. I love me some jazz. This will be interesting. Also, thank you for the donation. I saw you said it's like all the money you had. This is really interesting. There's like a counter melody going on that feels a little off. I don't know if that's intentional or not. It's very like, I don't know if the word's like dissonant, but it's kind of like a bad trip almost. But it's pretty cool. I'm assuming this is kind of intentional. It's like both groovy and pretty, but then also kind of like throws you off. This is like, I feel like the kick in this break could be a little punchier. I don't really quite know how to give feedback to this though, if I'm being honest. Wow. This is like it's almost like, I feel like there should be some sort of like trippy animation going on. Like some cool animator on YouTube should use this to score like a really cool animation. It's really interesting. I like that. I like the variation in the break. This second half is, I like a bit more. It doesn't feel as chaotic. But overall, there's not much to critique. It feels just like an experience. Well, that was cool. Let me know. I mean, you didn't say there was anything specific you wanted feedback on, so hopefully that was sufficient. I don't really have much feedback to give. It's kind of just a creative, interesting experience. I don't know if anyone else noticed anything. Add OTT on the master, goddamn. But yeah, definitely thank you for that experience. I feel like you could, I don't know. I wonder if you could get like a sync deal for that or something. I don't know. It might be a niche fit for stuff, but definitely you get some cool images in your head. All right. Who do we got next? Wake Up. Yeah, and sorry to people in the original queue. I will still try to follow that after the super chats, but I got to take care of the super chats first. Especially, I'm fucking unemployed at the moment, so anything helps. So sorry to those of you who may have been looking forward to yours. All right, so we got Wake Up. Yo, Cubic, remember you like to post mine and follow me on... Oh, I know who you are, yeah. Oh, hell yeah. What's up, Wake Up? I'm excited to hear this. Future Garage, let's go. I really like that texture in the background. Ooh, okay. I was kind of teetering on like, is the atmosphere too present? but the way that you just completely cut it off, that made a little more sense. I still think you could turn that like texture down just a tiny bit, but this is pretty.
Sorry I missed your call. Leave a message.
There's a little clipping going on there. I don't know if that's intentional.
Hey, I'm kind of glad you didn't pick up.
I think it's the vocal. It's just the sub clashing with the vocal. So I feel like you could probably do a little EQing, but it's not anything disruptive. It could totally be creative choice.
I just called to hear your voice, so your voice recording was enough. I should hang up. What am I doing? So I feel kind of dumb, but I miss you. I've been thinking about you, and I've been thinking about our
Dude,
love.
the voicemail shit always gets me. I like this kind of broken down drum loop. That new percussion. Ooh, a lot of really cool breaks in this. Really doing a lot with just creating space and breaths in the song. I really like that. Yeah, this flows really well. Quality Future Garage. That part, that little fill and then the snare after was a little weird, but also was just a bit experimental. Ooh. I definitely feel the emotions in here. Well done. Pretty stuff, Fake Up. Pretty stuff. I gave you a follow as well. Next we've got semi-dubs. All right. And some of these people, just for the people from the original queue, some of the people who super chatted were in the original queue. So just so you know, some of these you're still like you're going to be closer and closer. So right hemisphere 145, pacing, impact, or structure. All right, got it. I really like this like reverbed out color-based leads. Oh, what up, Nettie? Good night, Eklai. Or Ekley. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. I gotta hear one thing. I think there could be a little more progression in this area. I kind of noticed that I kind of tuned out a little bit because it was just, there wasn't a lot of new ear candy catching my ear around that section. And the snares, the build snares feel a little bit too washed out in my opinion. And I'd maybe like even slowly, just really subtly low cut the kicks coming up into the drop. Especially because the kick in the drop kind of has less impact than the kicks in the build. And so that kind of takes away the impact of your drop. Also, the drop feels a little bit too, I don't want to say mono, because it does feel stereo, but I feel like it kind of feels too centered, if that makes sense. I feel like a drop like this should kind of be really just expansive and kind of just flowing all around my head. That was better. I don't know. There's something going on though in this drop. You mentioned impact in what you wanted feedback on, and I don't know if it's just the mixing or maybe it's the drums feel like kind of really tight and compressed, maybe too tight and compressed. But something about the drop, it's not having the huge impact that it should be. The sound design's cool, the arrangement is cool, the melody is cool, but I think it has to do with the mixing of everything in the drop is just kind of stunting it. This part's a bit cleaner though, the second half. The snare's getting a little lost in the mix, and that might be part of it. It sounds like a really tight snare, and there's sections, especially in this last section, where I'm having trouble telling where the snare is, like whether and where, like it's getting confused with like percussion. So oh, well, perfect. I'm glad I could help you figure that out then. That part's sick. I really like this bridge. And I like the way you've panned some of this percussion and snares. And that Foley in the background. I feel like though it does go on a little long. I think you could add a lead, like a cool lead counter melody going on. I think that would be nice in that part, add some progression, because again, same thing that sort of happened in this section. I started tuning it out a little bit because it was just kind of mostly staying the same. Yeah, this part, I feel like a big lead would be so dope. This has the same issue as the other drop, where the arrangement of that feels like it should be way huger than it is. And I don't know if it's like has to do with the stereo field or the mixing, or maybe it's like not enough reverb or something. But like that fake out part, or it's not a fake out, my bad, but the dun 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 dun, I just feel like it should be a lot larger. And I'm assuming it's just mostly just a mixing and processing issues. And I think those like lead fills might be too present and in the mid section, or at least lower mids. Or it might even just be a volume thing. Yeah, there's a lot of muddiness in that section too. Just different things like different reverbs, and there's different fills coming in and out that are just starting to clash with each other, and so it's getting a little messy in that part. So I just make sure you're EQing things a bit better. And I hear there's like these noise things happening in the background, and those are also kind of taking away too much focus. Yeah, those I don't know if the noise has been there the whole time and I just now noticed it, but the noise like swooshes are too loud and might need to be EQ'd a little more. Overall though, it's a dope song. Like the arrangement is sick. Like I said, there's two parts where I feel like you could add a little more substance and progression. But other than that, it's mostly just a mix down issue. It seems like. So yeah, I would definitely finish this track. Just got to work on some of that stuff. A lot of notes. I really appreciate it. Yeah, thank you so much. I'm glad I could help out with that. Next, I believe we got Mic Shift. Let me double check. Yep, we got Mic Shift. All right, the homie. Let's go. DJ Mike CW. There we go. Everything. That's what you want feedback on. Got you. Jungle Beat. We got some some DK in the cover art. Let's go. Oh wait, 1 second. My interface is being weird. All right, let me restart that. So we got classic marimba. And shout out ZZ. That's so clean. I love the like punchiness and the just it's got like a, I don't know how to explain it, but the transient of that like marimba thing is really nice. Okay, that was a bit too sudden. I would have a reverse go into that and maybe turn it down just a tiny bit or have it reverbed. That would just kind of came out of nowhere and it was like 10 times more impactful. It's just like, fuck your piece. I like this switch up though on the melody. I would see just how it sounds, might not sound good. But I would see about keeping the marimba layered in, or at least like the some of the transient of the marimba layered in and just subtly in the background, so it doesn't feel like, because it's such a pronounced texture of like the transient of it, that when it goes into this section, it's kind of noticeably lacking that texture. So maybe just keep it in the background layered with this like these rave saws, and see how that sounds. It might not work out, and so I think this still sounds fine, but I just think that could give it a little more depth and not feel as much of a contrast. Oh, what's up, Sideshow? I didn't see you. Oh, this is fun. I need to listen to that transition again. I feel like one more riser, like a noise sweep, could be added there. But that's just me being extra critical. Ooh. Same thing right there, though. That fill was a bit louder than everything else, just like the fill there. What the fuck? Wait, I want more of the jazz layered with that. The fact that you have like the saxophone or whatever that is layered in there kind of was too hype of a fake out to where now this section feels like it needs an extra element to fill in that gap. Because that was sick as fuck, but now this part I just feel like it's not as interesting as that part was, if that makes sense. It's still dope though. It's just a bit too empty compared to that fake out. I love the sound design though. Ooh. I don't know completely what this needs, but I feel like maybe a chant or just something to make that part even more stompy. Because when it switches, it's like stompy, but I just feel like it could be even more stompy and energetic, just next level. Maybe just have like what's the word? Pulsing crowd chant or like crowd ambience in the background subtly. Even that could just give it that much more of like an energetic atmosphere for this part, especially because you add in the saxophone. Like even it would just make the saxophone feel even more like it's in a concert setting. Even maybe put some like convolution reverb with a kind of like concert room on, like layered as a send onto the saxophone to just make it feel like live, like one of those songs where it's like you're listening to it in your headphones, but it feels almost like you're at a festival. I just feel like you could do like spice it up even more, you know? No, dude, the sax is your secret weapon. Like once you've started incorporating the sax more into your songs, I've been loving it. Like personally, I think that's your move. I think there's a little bit of space in there that needs to be filled with a fill before we get into the double time kind of part. That's sick. That worked a lot better. Like the fake out with the sax, but then it went into that. I think part of it is that you have the fake out in this first drop with the sax, but then you go into the same sound design with the same melody. And so it just feels like you just hear the fake out again, but in the drop form, but without the sax. So I would either change up the melody to something where it's like more energetic and a little different like that. So the fake out feels a little more like of a contrast, or add in another sound. Doesn't necessarily have to be the saxophone to just kind of fill in for that gap since the fake out. Or even just don't add the sax in that first part and bring in the sax, like keep it in these later parts.
Bring it back now.
Dude, this shit is just straight up, Mike Shift is like color-based saxophone-y butte noise, and I love it.
Bring it back now.
Oh. Yeah, that's sick, dude. Well, fucking, that's really cool shit. That's probably one of my favorite things I've heard from you. Obviously, like I gave my critique on it, but you're every song I've heard from you, like it just keeps getting better and better, and you're like finding your sound now, and it's really cool to hear. The pew 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 second drop. Yeah, exactly what Lunari said. That's sick though. I believe there's one more super chat. Hopefully they're still here. Dysmorphia. Let me know if you're still here. If not, Sorry if it took long, but we are at Dysmorphia, and then we'll get back to the regular queue. All right. Anything and everything. This is already finished and getting released on a label soon. Well, congrats. I see winner. So whatever this remix contest is, I'm assuming you won. Oh, Doyu Digital. Well, congrats, Dysmorphia. That snare on the side is like clipping a bit. For some reason, it was only clipping in the right ear, because when it played just now, it wasn't clipping, so that must mean that there's something clashing with it right there. Possibly the big reverb room. So I do notice a lot with like some of these songs I get sent for feedback is people don't EQ their reverb, or don't EQ after they put on like really big reverb rooms on stuff. So always make sure you're watching that, because reverb can fill up the spectrum and really cloud stuff. This is sick so far. This is really dope. One thing though, I would just tame the high end a little bit. There's certain sounds in here that just kind of hurt your ears a tiny bit. What the fuck? This is crazy. Okay, if you're gonna put in the vocal that says stop, why didn't you stop it? It's still cool though. Yeah, that's when I would change the vocal. I mean, this is obviously very nitpicky, but I think it works better when you're like stopping the drop. And then hearing it twice takes away the fun impact of it, in my opinion. I mean, I'm not really noticing any other major issues in the song. Overall, it's really cool. I just, yeah, like I said, some of these sounds, high end is pushing it. There's some really cool layering going on here. A lot of really dope fills. When I get to you, Summers, I will do my best. But yeah, that was Dysmorphia with Woodpecker, forthcoming on Doyu Digital. Well done. That was a really dope song. nice switch up on the Wook bass formula. I enjoyed it. So back to the original queue. We are at Cat, I believe. Let me see who's next. After that is Death Floor, if you're in the chat. So in terms of feedback, I've already made some changes to this, so I'm just seeing what you'll say. Sustains in the second drop are being fixed a little, and the midsection and second riser having more added to them. All right. So far, the mixing's pretty clean. Oh, fuck, dude. I think those horns in the background could be a bit louder and a bit more present. Yeah, those brasses are dope. Like, they just seem more high-end and just more present. I think they would really help with the energy even more than they are. Also, I'd say that vocal could be a tiny bit louder. Because you pitched it up, it doesn't have as much presence as the vocal does earlier. So I would just raise that one. Even there, I think just put some OTT on those brasses. You might be good. Maybe a little saturation. The feedback is interesting. Yeah. Really fix those sustains. I would go for a kind of spectral Voltra type of vibe for that. I think it'd be really cool. Yeah, that's cool. That's hurting my ears, so I'm not going to keep going. I'm going to give you a follow, actually. This is actually some cool stuff. I would play this first half for sure. Like I said, the brass. The brass needs to be more present. It's a bit too muffled and in the background, and it's cool. So let it shine a little bit more, and then obviously fix those sustains. But other than that, this is a cool song. Really clean mix down. Dope energy, dope melodies, really groovy. Well done. The sustain is sus. All right, next we've got Death Floor. I don't believe I did Death Floor already. I don't know why though. It's kind of a familiar name. All right, so oh god, already you have some resonance in that like lead thing in the background that's you need to take care of. If you have Soothe 2, throw some Soothe 2 on that. And it's also when that like church bell thing comes in, so there might be some resonances in those, and it's just pairing with the lead and making it hurt a little. This melody's sick though. Ooh, that vocal is gorgeous. The ARP has some sort of detuning on it that's a little bit questionable. Honestly, if I were you, I would filter the ARP a little bit and push it a little bit farther back in the mix with some reverb. That's more of a creative thing though, but personally, I think that would sound better. Oh, that's sick. Okay, I see why it's not filtered, but if anything, you could start with it filtered and reverbed and then just kind of bring it up, and that would build more tension and progression into the build. These claps can be a little more present, but the claps are sick. And the way they layer with that build snare. Really, really solid progression in this song so far. Okay, you got some mixing issues going on here. Really sick leads, really sick melody, but there's some sort of layer that is taking up a lot of the mid-range or like upper mid-range. It might just be an effect, like some sort of noise thing in the background or reverb. But the main thing is this is muddy. So just go in, figure out what element is kind of taking the upper and even lower mids a little bit away from your lead. I think part of it is just, I think it's two things actually. I think there's some sort of effects thing or some other layer, but then also you have like this kind of harder tear outy layer layered with the melodic layer. I would make the melodic layer a lot more present. I think that's the strength in this drop, not the kind of Foley percussion type layer. That's sick. Oh, what the fuck? Okay. But yeah, same issue in the second part of that drop as well. Again, really cool ideas, but the way you're layering or mixing the layers is just kind of taking, like you're choosing the wrong layer to be the focus, in my opinion. So I would reassess how you're leveling the layers and how you're EQing the layers and focus on the like more tonal part, the da 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 da, instead of the whatever that I think it's the same layer element that's kind of taking up too much space in the first drop. Oh, what up, Death Boy? Other than that, though, this is fire. This is really cool stuff. Really interesting take on, dare I say, melodic tear out. Like if you clean this song up, please send it to me because this is actually a really dope song. Oh, I love the glitching going on here. Oh, this is such a vibe. I think that noise riser thing is a bit too loud. You can make it quieter.
Jeez.
Oh, well done. That was a sick fake out. Oh my god! Man, I love all the variation. I'm giving you a follow. That's tight. Same issue with these sustains. I actually like those sustains, but there's something blocking that same frequency spectrum as in the other parts, where it's like I want them to be more in my face in the mid-range. Oh man, this is sick. And the way the impact plus the chords, well done. That worked really, really well. Oh, what up, Ted? What up, Mecha Cube? Oh, it's saying stuck. Oh, I guess it's said, I thought it said stop dysmorphia. Might be. But yeah, sick death floor and thylakoid. Yeah, definitely. Hopefully, like I said, if you fix that stuff, please send me this because this is sick. All right, who do we got next? 19 or wait, Flaming AMVs. All right, aka 19 music. Tranquility, some color bass. I can already tell from the waveform that you have some mastering and loudness issues. Just inconsistencies. I really like the reverb on the snare. I feel like the kick could be quieter maybe. Or maybe there just needs to be a bit more in the like lower mids. The kick just feels a bit too, it's like not surrounded by anything, if that makes sense. That might just be me though. It's not like anything horrible. So that 808 is not like saturated and present enough, in my opinion. I just honestly just give it a little EQ boost. Other than that though, this is a vibe. And I know I said something about the mix down, or maybe I said mastering. Like, I think it could be a little louder, but in terms of the mix down, at least during this part, other than the stubs in the 808 being a little too quiet, this seems pretty fucking great. It's definitely tranquility. I kind of want to just close my eyes and like turn off all the lights, you know? I don't think I think because of how quiet this part is, the clap coming in kind of just almost, if you will, disrupts the tranquility. So, I don't completely know how you would fix that. I mean, either maybe not do it or not filter the claps like in as quickly and have them a bit more reverbed, or maybe also introduce like a noise riser to complement it. This is cool. Wait. There's something weird about that sub, but the sub is the 808 is working a lot better in this drop than in this drop. I do kind of see though that it's kind of intentionally louder. So overall though, I actually really like this. Like, I feel like any criticism, I feel like it could be a bit of a love and hate track, but I think, ooh, I like this. I like that. But yeah, as I was saying, I think it would be a little bit of a love and hate track because it doesn't completely conform to like the normal standards for even things like color bass. It's a bit trappier, but it really lives up to Tranquility. So I think if anyone listens to it going into it, it's kind of just a really tranquil, calm song, and I think it's pretty. I don't know. I kind of like it the way it is. There's a few critiques, but overall, I think it's a really pleasant song. So, good job. Next we've got. Did I do sub 01? Oh yeah, I don't think I did. So, here we go. Sub 001. If you're still here. Yeah, so they said, is there anything specific you're looking for in feedback on? Is it too cheesy? It is cheesy, but also one of the issues is there's weird like ear candy coming in that's kind of clashing melodically. Yeah, there's a lot of like out of key stuff happening, like sustains, and I think even that like sub fill type thing might be a little out of tune. I think the chord progression that the main color bass leads are playing is fine. I think it's everything surrounding them is kind of messing with the vibe and just kind of throwing it off. Next we've got Blank Beats. Two Blue Blue. Is their sound? They want feedback on their sound design. Alrighty. Spiral Dog. Interesting name. Interesting album art. Oh, you just rejoined at the perfect time. Okay. We got some penis music. Okay. So first off, the sub is present, but it's kind of lacking a sort of like low end punchiness. So I might, if I were you, mess with the way you're distorting or saturating it a little bit. Make sure it's not taking away too much of like the sub thumpiness of it. Overall, though, I will say this is just a really played out formula for the drop. It was like Space Laces did it once, and then a bunch of people kind of copied Space Laces in their own way, and then here you are, May 30th, 2021, doing the same sort of style. I really like everything going into it, but I would do a bit more to differentiate yourself than just the like beat boops. Like I would add some more layers in, maybe change up the flow a bit. Oh, that just hurts. What sounds like this, you gotta be really careful with the high end. That one, this was a bit more bearable, but that instant ear fatigue definitely gets some soothed too. Yeah, I would agree as well. Mecha Cube, the kick and clap need to be louder. And the clap needs some sort of space around it. That's just hard to listen to. It's a lot of high-end ringing. Make sure you're checking, I believe it's like around 4 or 5K hertz is the area where babies cry. Like look into the Fletcher-Munson curve, and I bet that a lot of your residencies in this are like right in the biggest peak of that curve. God, that hurts. Ow, okay, so it's just becoming a pile up of too many bleep bloops that aren't being EQ'd. And that needs more of a contrast between the drop. Like whether it's being washed out or take out more sub, because the transition into the drop, it doesn't feel like enough has changed, so the drop doesn't have the impact that it would have from the way a fake out should give it. Also, your hi-hats are kind of getting drowned out because a lot of your leads are in the same frequency range as the hi-hats, so your flow is kind of lacking groove. Yeah, honestly, I can't finish this because my head is hurting, and it's gonna make it hard to give feedback to everyone else if I just have a headache. Real quick though, sorry to do this, but I need to pee. Bad. So I'm gonna take a quick pee break, and I will be right back. Be real quick. All right, I'm back. Who do we got next? P moment. Feedback stream featuring gaming chair. Yeah, I hope my gaming chair gave some good feedback on whoever was next. Let me see who is actually next. Miss Jasuki. All right. We are on 18 out of the 25 song limit. There's like 2 more people who submitted, but I made a limit of 25 songs unless you give a super chat, in which case I will give feedback to your song directly next. But we are coming up on 2.5 hours long feedback stream, and I have not eaten in like 3 hours, so I want to go eat at some point. All right, so for this one, I would love to get some feedback on my mix and sound design. Got you.
The man that I'm going to introduce is probably one of the hardest working men in the United States. He has certainly brought new luster to the office of Vice President. He has become America's #1 ambassador of goodwill. It's been my privilege to follow in some of his footsteps in other parts of the world and found his popularity tremendous overseas wherever he has gone. He's a young man with vision, and I found him to be a man of humility and integrity and courage.
There's a bit of mud going on that's making it somewhat hard to focus on the vocal. And then the vocal's a little bit raspy, so I'd probably tame the raspiness on the vocal just a little bit. I know it's like an old recording, so you're only going to make it so clean. But I think just I would EQ things a little bit more just to make it so you can easily kind of comprehend both the vocal and the stuff happening in the background. It's just getting a slight bit muddy.
And we invited him here tonight. And I think that whatever your party affiliation,
also, these like Reese fills, I feel like need more girth. This whatever the sub is on them sounds like it's an octave too high almost. I don't know if maybe you're using the sub that's built into whatever that sound is. If that's the case, I would low cut the sub and pair it, like write it with a separate like bottom, like actual sub, so that it's more in the right octave, and then put them together, and I bet it'll sound a bit more angry and impactful, which is what it sounds like you're going for.
and I'm sure that there are Democrats as well as Republicans here, that we all admire him as a great vice president and as a loyal American. He came from a Christian.
Oh, dude, NeoFox, there's still like 15 more submissions. So, Summers to Cold, basically, we've gotten like an overflow of submissions today. So, if you want feedback, you're going to have to send in a super chat. Or just wait till next week's feedback stream. I mean, if these keep being so popular streams, I might have to start doing them multiple times a week. So, we'll see. But let me check where you are, Lambrastic. Is that who asked that? Oh wait, Lunari. I don't know what. Let me know what your email was that you submitted it under, and then I can let you know when you're up.
He has a Christian heritage, and we appreciate his taking time out of his busy schedule to be with us here at Yankee Stadium tonight. Vice President Nixon.
Okay, so there's some weird stuff going on. So first off, let me say I appreciate the sampling and social commentary. So first off, thing I noticed, the riser, I think it needs some like mid-side EQing. And then there's some, the space on this lead is a bit weird. I don't know how to explain it. It's also just not like, don't know if it's the tonality of it. It's a little hard for me to give you a specific critique because it kind of just sounds like, no offense, but it sounds like you're still like in the learning phase, you know? We all go through different phases when like the phases of becoming a producer. We've all been in here, and I just feel like you're still kind of understand like learning how to construct a drop and how to sound design. And so part of that is like everyone just kind of has to go through it, and there's not really an amount of feedback that really helps. It's more of like a knowledge and practice type of thing in my opinion. So I would say the thing I notice is that like the groove of your drums feel a little bit disconnected from the groove and rhythm and movement of your leads. So one thing to focus on is like either, I don't know if you're starting with the leads and rhythm first and then adding in the hi-hats and stuff, or vice versa, but you want to make sure those things are kind of glued together. They tend to work better when your lead rhythm and movement complements your drum rhythm and movement, or vice versa. So that's one thing, is it's like a very stereotypical like dubstep loop, but then the leads are just like a bit slower, so it's just a little confusing.
But here is a man who believes.
Also, this snare is like insanely compressed.
Here is a man who considers.
It's like pretty much just a transient.
Here is a man who, when he speaks, you feel that he is talking something.
Also, I know like the vocoding of the vocal samples is cool. It's an interesting idea, but it needs to be EQ'd a bit more. It's very raspy. And then I don't know. I think just overall, this kind of all goes down to you sound like you're still in the kind of early phases of learning to be a producer. No, not trying to offend you or anything, but yeah, so much of it is just like watch more tutorials, practice, keep making songs, and it'll naturally start to develop. And keep sending them in for feedback. Hopefully this is helpful feedback. So like here, I see what you're going for. It's cool leads and cool melody, but they don't work together. Those leads and the melody are kind of clashing. But yeah, that's all the feedback I have for that one. So we got Dan next. Ways to potentially improve flow and make the first drop cleaner. By Dan, I mean Paper Skies. I'd consider Paper Skies a better producer than me, so I don't know how helpful I'll be. Also, Lunari, you did not let me know your email. No problem, Mr. Suke. So Paper Skies ID. I love this Reese. So far, it's what am I supposed to critique? It's Paper Sky. Wait, let me hear this one part real quick. And also, I think there's like 5 or 6 submissions before you, Lunari. Honestly, this part of the build-up just feels a little awkward. I mean, honestly, the whole build, like the transition between this to the drop, just feels a little awkward. I just think it needs some like different substance. I think you're relying a little too much on that like pop fill thing. Like, I think instead of having it happen twice in that phrase, maybe use like that Reese that was in the beginning, but have it more distorted, and like use a Reese fill for that second part. And maybe just have some little ear candy glitches to follow, like during that part right there. Like it feels like they just need some extra layers and to just keep the flow going. Because it's like it just feels a bit minimal, and so I don't know how to explain this right, but like the flow is like very, I don't know, the leads are very exposed, if that makes sense. I don't know. I just think there needs to be a little more ear candy fills going on, essentially. Like just maybe some cool percussion here and there. Also, that transition into this part's sick, but the transition feels a little bit too sudden. So I would just kind of add some more cues that's about to happen a little bit before, or maybe extend it into a bit more of a little bit of a breakdown before going into this part. Also, I will say that the snare's like a little weird. It sounds a little experimental, like the way the it's like layered on the kick, but there's something about it that just feels a little bit weird and makes it feel a little clicky. Hey, what up, Dan? That part's fire, though. That's my favorite part so far. Oh, I love all the, like, texture going on here. It's like some subtle, like, cone sound vibes. I think it's just this build. I just don't know if it works. There's something about it that just feels, like, dated. I don't know the best way to describe it, but I think you need to finesse this. It's the same thing in the first section too, just this little like build up on top of the build up. I don't know, it just might be a taste thing as well. It's like I don't know, that riser just feels a little too generic, and it doesn't feel completely linked to the rest, the feel of the rest of the song. It feels like it almost like cheapens the build up. I don't know if that's the right way to describe it.
I turn my back and look at the stars.
Oh, there's the classic Paper Skies. Ooh, I like the contrast between the Reese and then how empty it got. This is perfect. This is awesome. Except for that fill. That fill was a little like too thin. Let me hear it again. Yeah, it just the fill needs like some other layers on it. I like what you're doing though. You're doing like a weird kind of like tear out teases, like the way like people in Tear Out where they do the like phone kind of EQ style of filtering, but you're doing it with like your classic color based leads. I do think it's a little too thin or lacking. It's like it feels like there's a lot of low end, but it's like almost like not present in the high end. So I feel like it does need to be altered a little bit, but I really like what you're doing there. It's cool. Overall though, this is cool. It's cool seeing you go in a little bit of a heavier direction. Even though it's not, it's still like pretty like color basey Paper Skies like vibes, but it's really interesting to see you kind of take your style into this direction. All right, next we've got Deviate. I don't know if Deviate's still in here, but I love Deviate, so it's sick to get a feedback from or a submission from Deviate. So they just want feedback on the first drop. Got you. Hey, shit. My fucking headphones. I need to get a new interface because my, like the thing, here, I'll show you. The thing that goes into my interface, it's like, I don't know, the input of it gets all wonky and I have to like finesse the headphone jack. What the? That's so fucking clean, and the way that the groove is like off at some points, but it's like so quiet. That's so fucking crazy. Yeah, dude. This is just Deviate flexing and teasing a track. This is sick. Holy shit. This is one of the few times where that much like emptiness in a drop and the weird like messed up flow at parts actually works. Like there's almost nothing going on in the background seemingly at parts of these, but these leads are just so filling and energetic, and then the rhythm is insane. This is straight up probably the coolest thing I've heard from Deviate. Don't mind if I download this, dude. That's fucking crazy. Who do we got next? Jay Manzaro. Oh, the real Jimbo. Invasion V6. My mix is quite shite, so it'd be nice to get feedback for it. I got you. Oh, we got some chiptune. Oh, yay, thank you. I'm gonna play this at my next show. I've literally got like the first live show opening back up in Seattle after quarantine. I'm gonna drop that at my show. It's gonna be sick. So far the mix down isn't that shit. Your drums get a little bit lost in this part, but it's not really that bad. Yeah, your drums are getting quite lost, but other than that, it's so full and energetic. This is a nice little switch up from everything we've been listening to. I think this mix sounds pretty solid for what it is. Yeah, gamer's moment for sure. Yeah, my only feedback is just your drums getting lost. Like, I don't know, I can't completely tell if you're side chaining enough. It just might be too tight of a side chain, or maybe no side chain. It's hard to tell. But yeah, your kick and snare and your hi-hats are just getting a little lost. God, this is lit. Ooh. Okay, so for this part, I would recommend having a bit more of a like classic dubstep snare, or a more washed out snare. Like, you kind of have the same kind of chiptune snare for the rest of it, but this part, I would upgrade the snare a little bit. At least have like a really OTT'd like reverb tail on it, you know? This is boss stuff. I'm not normally like into this style of music. I mean, it's like chiptune gaming music, but this is a bop. All right, that was Jimbo. Next, we've got Wandra Wananda. Feedback and mixing and mastering, please. They sent me a YouTube link. Interesting. Spicy sushi. Well, first off, those what would be the right word? Oriental leads, I guess, have a little too much high end. There's a lot of high end issues in this, actually. I would just tone down the high end. Oops, what did I just do? These vocals. This is cool album art. Okay. This is weird, but I kind of like it. feel like the 808 could be a little thicker, a little more saturated. Like if you have Ableton, I would use like the saturator preset called Warm Up the Lows on the 808. More high-end issues. Why does this keep happening? I don't like the copy paste drop. I'd switch it up. I would have taken like that first half of that and used it as a fake out to like make people think it's about to be the same drop and then switch it up into some weird wacky way. All right, next we've got Zafubtron. I don't know how to say your name. And is there anything specific that you're looking for feedback on? They said water. So, interesting. Luminari, you're almost up. So first off, a lot of high end. Now this is, I just want to say, this is probably like, this is a big issue for a lot of producers who are still somewhat learning. I mean, I didn't really deal with this issue in my own music until the past couple months when I realized that I was leaving way too much high end in all my music. High end adds so much ear fatigue, especially when it's all stacking on top of each other. And it just can give people headaches, hurt their ears, and it can make your track not sound as clean and professional. You don't need as much high end as you think you need. It's kind of an illusion. Other than that though, this kind of works. It's a bit weird, but it's kind of a vibe. It's bouncy. Oh, I just realized it's a Tron. I like the clap, but again, it's a lot of high end. This part's sick. This clap is fire though. Those glitches are just sick. I really like this breakdown, but because I know what the drop's gonna be like, it feels a little, what's the word? I don't know. It's just such a, the drop's such a different vibe in terms of energy, but it works. This is weird, but I can't help but bounce to it. Ooh, that little melody change. What the fuck? This is actually pretty cool. Drop like it's water. Oh no. I mean, with some surgical dynamic EQing, like if you have FabFilter Pro Q or Soothe, you could still fix the high end in this without ruining the song. I mean, or you could get someone to do that for you. But yeah, dope song. I actually fuck with that. Next we've got After Game, and then I believe it's Luminary next. Luminary. Is there anything specific you're looking for feedback on what to do next? That's a hard one, my dude. I don't think this works to begin with. I think the drum loop is dope, but I don't think the sound design really works. Ah, oh my god, Jesus, cut the highs, please. Cut the highs. I see what you're going for with these leads. I mean, I think it's just a matter of like getting like more knowledge on sound design, because I can see what you're going for and it's cool ideas, but I just don't think you're executing it well enough in terms of the sound design. So I would just keep diving into sound design tutorials, getting as much knowledge as you can, and you'll get to a point where the ideas that I can see you have for this will work a lot better, and in turn will help you have more ideas on how to push it, because you'll be able to be more into it. The second part works a lot better though. A lot of high end though. It's hurting my ears. In terms of what to do next, honestly, I would just keep practicing. Do a bunch of sound design sessions. Get as good at sound design as you can and control your high end. And then you'll have a better loop like this, which then will give you more inspiration for what to do next. All right. Okay, we got Spacey next. So here, I'll do Spacey, then Luminary, and then we are done for the night. House. Also, thanks for the follow, Luminary. So far, this is dope. Okay, so this one doesn't have enough high end for the basses. Either that, or I've heard so much high end in the last couple tracks that now this feels dull. I'd honestly say just add another layer to this bass and you're good. Like this part's good. So if anything, I would just maybe even distort like this a little more, but like don't change it for the second half, just for the first. Just throw some Nani hentai distortion onto it and I feel like a cool little melody could happen in here, just like a reverb pluck that happens every couple hits. playing like a really slow melody, because it feels a little empty. All right, we got Lunari for the last submission of the night. Sorry to anyone who didn't make it in. If you're still in here, if you want to drop a super chat, I'll go check it out. But other than that, it's late and I want to go eat dinner. So we'll have to save it till next week. So Solace by Lunari. This is a beautiful melody so far. Low-key hyperpop vibes. Ooh. That fill was sick. The windows. So far, this is really, really well done. Yo. I think the sound design is sick. Underrated, dude. Underrated. Honestly, only thing, and this is just critique for the sake of critique, I feel like you could add like some sort of glassy layer on top of the lead. Like the lead is a tiny bit one-dimensional. There's enough going on with the melody and the glitches here and there that it's lovely and interesting, but it could have a second layer just to make it a little thicker and give it a little more depth than it already has. But you do have the like the bass filling up the low end and the mid, so it works out. That was dope though. Any chance you could send me that? I would love to play it in my next set. This is really dope. What's up, Exodron? You just came to the end of the stream, unfortunately. But we just did 3 hours of feedback. Had a bunch of people stop through. This has been a fun time. Hopefully I helped all of you guys. Last chance if anyone wants to drop a super chat, and I'll feed back your stuff right now. But other than that, I hope everyone yeah, if you want to send me on Discord, Twitter, wherever, or SoundCloud. But yeah, hopefully everyone had a good time as well. Thank you all for stopping by. Huge thank you to everyone who donated. I'm unemployed as fuck and I'm trying to turn this into a living of some sort, so it's super helpful. But yeah, other than that, everyone have a great rest of your night, and thank you, Exodron. That's really nice of you. Hello to you as well. Oh shoot, Blaze. You know what? Fuck it. I'll do one more. Here, I got you. Wait, if I can find yours. What is your email on here, Blaze? No, wait. I'm just going through them to find yours. Oh, I found it. All right, I'll do this one last one because I'm feeling nice and I feel bad. All right, Moonboy, Faith in Me, Blaze remix. I'm not the biggest fan of Moonboy, to be honest, like as a person or personality, but I will say I enjoyed the original tune of this. Faith in Me was dope. It's alright, Riz, Jordan, but thanks for stopping in. Oh wait, this is just part of the build, right? I would say maybe the kick is distorting a little too much, but it doesn't really, it kind of works. I would add another riser in there. It just needed a little more tension being built, and it got a little bit empty for a second. Honestly, I don't think this lead works that well. I think, if anything, it needs like more space around it, and maybe even, I would even like create like a group. I don't know if you're in Ableton or FL Studio or something else, but like if I was in Ableton, I'd create a group and make a few different tracks and have like one that's like really reverbed, and then maybe one that's like either got some really cool stereo processing or even like pitched a little differently.
Switch it up.
Because it's just a bit too like, not thin is the word, but it's just not as huge and impactful. And so the tonality's a little bit weird, but I think you could make it work if it was just kind of more layers of it and it was a bit like thicker and had more depth and larger. Oh, Reese, my bad. Oh, sick breakdown. I love this part. This is sick. I like how empty you kind of left stuff. It creates that kind of eeriness atmosphere that the vocals kind of give. Oh, that fill reverse thing was tight. And these horns. This is cool. But yeah, this just needs one more riser. Maybe like a noisy, kind of more textured riser.
Switch it up.
Okay. That was sick, but I think it needed more than a vocal to kind of pull you into the switch up. It still felt a bit sudden, even though there's the switch it up. Maybe even like the that fill you had over here. There's that cool fill I commented on. Like if you put that at right after the vocal, I think that would have worked better. That's a cool remix though. I really especially like these parts. Like I said, I think that lead could have just been, I don't know, I think it just needs to be processed a little differently to make it work. But yeah, I think it's a cool flip, and the way you made use of like just the darkness and the more atmospheric side of the song, I think was really cool. But with that being said, that is the end of my feedback for this Sunday. You can catch the stream again next Sunday. At some point during the day, I'll drop the form again. First 25 people will get feedback for free or whatever, and then everyone else has to do super chats, just because, like, as you can see, 3 hours, it's a lot of time for me to be sitting here giving feedback, but hopefully it was helpful to everybody. And thanks everyone who hung out with me. It was fun, and yeah, hope you all have a great rest of your night. I'm gonna sign out. My name's Qbik. As always, go check out my other videos and my music on SoundCloud. And yeah, bye-bye. Keep creating. Keep having a blast making music.